Welcome back. I told you we were adjusting the show on the fly, and as if to illustrate that perfectly, I said he was not here. He's now here. The director of the National Economic Council for the White House, Kevin Hassett. Kevin, it's good to see you. Thanks for joining us.
Oh, it's great to be here, Major. Yeah, we were scheduled to speak when the president was still speaking, and so we had to pause. But
Trust
he
me,
finished, and I came right down from my office.
And I know the priority the president speaking carries for you and all my good friends who cover the White House. So, some economic data today, Kevin, I want you to get your appraisal of. GDP growth revised upward. Initial jobless claims came in under estimates. I'm gathering you regard both of those as positive statistical developments. Lurking within that data, the amount of time people in this country are unemployed lengthening by about almost a week, meaning people are being out of a job longer than they would prefer. That seems to me a possibly discouraging sign. Parse all three for my audience, if you'd be so kind.
What we're seeing is, so for example, we had incredible retail sales. So year over year, retail sales in America are up 6%, which means that Americans, especially ordinary Americans that are responsible for, sales at Walmart and places like that, are out there feeling healthy income-wise and buying stuff. The GDP release shows that. And meanwhile, because all the factories are coming along onshore again, then we're seeing a huge explosion in factory investment. Meanwhile, while we're doing that, there's a reduction in government jobs by about 250,000 because we're trying to make the government more efficient. And so there's a whole bunch of data that's very, very positive. The one thing that you pointed to is that if you look at some of the labor market data, that especially the payroll survey, it said there were only 20-something thousand jobs in August. And I believe that's a statistical anomaly. And one of the ways we know that is that the jobs numbers are revised when we get the claims data, which you just talked about. And the claims data have been very, very positive. And so I think in the end, the revisions for the jobs numbers are going to be very consistent with every other number that's so strong right now.
Kevin, is the TikTok deal done? Absolutely done, meaning ByteDance, the Chinese government, everyone who needs to sign off on this has signed off on it?
The President Xi and President Trump have agreed to a process to finalize the deal. It's a process that really has two tracks. One is a track where ByteDance is setting up investments with American companies and negotiating with those companies. And I think that there's still some moving parts on which companies that's going to be. And at the same time, the governments have to approve that the deal that they finalize is consistent with the two presidents' agreement. Yeah, everybody is almost certain that that's going to happen, but it's not completely done yet. And the only reason it's not done yet is that we're going to scrutinize the deal carefully to make sure that it's good for the American people and it protects their data security.
Why does the shutdown conversation, Kevin, need a threat from the White House that there will be massive federal layoffs if it's unresolved?
Right. Well, it's something that there's not a promise that there'll be massive layoffs. It's an option that OMB reminded Democrats is on the table every time they don't fund the government. So if money is not appropriated for a job, then OMB's responsibility is to cut that job. Historically, we've known that the shutdown is only going to last for a short time. And so therefore, people have basically put on a four-quarter offense and waited until the deal got worked out. But if the deal isn't worked out, if Democrats shut down this government, then we're going to explore our options. And Russ Vought asked the Treasury Secretary and other cabinet secretaries to explore what their options would be if they have the option to, RIF employees if they don't get the money they need to run their agencies. And whether they do that or not is an open question that will be, I think, assessed by each cabinet secretary. But what we really hope is that we get a deal that doesn't shut down the government, because the Democrats are posturing right now to try to come up with anything that'll change the story. Because, again, like we were just talking about how strong the economy is, how much momentum we have for the American people. And so one of the ways in politics that people try to upset momentum is they do things like shut down the government. And it's kind of a silly political ploy. Yep. And I think Russ is reminding Democrats that they should really think about the gravity of what they're talking about doing.
Kevin Hassett mentioned RIF. That is an acronym, reduction in force. I like to clarify acronyms whenever I'm knowledgeable.
Oh, I'm sorry,
capable.
yeah.
Kevin Hassett.
After a long day in the White House, you tend to use acronyms.
Yeah. Thank you very much, sir. Appreciate it.